What if the greatest love story of all time wasn't really a love story, but a 5-day tragedy? One that was just fueled by a mix of teenage passion and some seriously bad luck. Well, today we're going to break down Romeo and Juliet, a story of love, pure hatred, and maybe the worst timing in all of literature. Let's get into it.
So this really just throws us right into the middle of it all, doesn't it? I mean, forget peaceful city streets. Verona is a total pressure cooker. We're talking about an ancient feud, which means violence could just erupt at any second. And you've got to understand, this isn't just some background detail. It's the engine that drives this entire tragic story. All right, Section 1, a feud in Verona. An ancient grudge and a masked intruder. So what does this ancient grudge really mean? Well, it's something that poisons the entire city. And it's what sets the stage for one young man to make a really fateful decision. Okay, so you've got to picture this. The city is completely split, right down the middle. You're either a Montague, that's Romeo's family, or you're a Capulet, Juliet's family. There is no in between. And this isn't just some friendly rivalry, It's this bitter, deep-rooted feud. In this world, your last name, it isn't just who you are. It's literally a target on your back. So you might be asking yourself, how on earth does a Montague end up at a Capulet party? Well, it all starts with what you might call a classic bad idea. See, Romeo is totally lovesick over this woman, Rosalind, who's just not interested. So his friend's big plan? Let's crash the enemy's party, wearing masks, of course, and find him a new girl. What could possibly go wrong, right? Except, well, they are walking straight into the lion's den. All right, on to our next section, love at first sight, a fateful encounter at the feast. And yeah, this is exactly where that little plan to cure a crush backfires in the most spectacular way imaginable. Romeo is about to have an encounter, and it's not just going to change his night, it is going to change everything. And boom, there it is. Just one look across the crowded room, and that's all it takes. Rosalind? Who's Rosalind? She's instantly forgotten. Romeo is just completely captivated. He's stunned by this girl he thinks outshines everyone else there. This isn't just another crush. No way. This is a lightning strike. But here's the thing. While Romeo's falling head over heels in love, someone else is just filled with pure hate. It's Juliet's cousin, Tybalt. He recognizes Romeo's voice, and he is ready to kill him right then and there. Now, Lord Capulet stops him. He's not having any fighting at his party, but Tybalt is furious. He swears this isn't over. And that right there, that's a crucial seed of revenge being planted. And then comes the gut punch, the devastating reveal. They both find out the truth. He's a Montague, she's a Capulet. They've fallen in love with their one sworn enemy. And folks, this is the very definition of star-crossed lovers. We're talking about a relationship that feels like it's doomed from the start by forces way bigger than them. Okay, new section, a secret vow, the balcony scene, and a friar's hope. So this shocking discovery leads us directly into what is maybe the most famous scene in all of literature, a secret meeting where love makes a desperate attempt to conquer hate. So later, that same night, Romeo he can't stay away. He sneaks back into the Capulet's garden, and he hears Juliet up on her balcony, just speaking her thoughts out into the night. She's struggling with this impossible idea that the only thing standing between them is just a name. And then, you can just picture it. He steps out from the shadows, and Romeo replies with this incredibly bold declaration. He says he's willing to give up his name, his entire identity, just for her love. And things just move at lightning speed from here. I mean, right then and there, they decide they're going to get married. In secret, the very next day. So Romeo goes to his friend, Friar Lawrence, and asks him to perform the ceremony. And the friar agrees. But he's got a bigger goal in mind. He's actually hoping that their marriage could be the one thing that finally ends this horrible family feud.
All right, our next section, one tragic afternoon, a duel, a death, and a decree. And you can probably guess any hope for peace is about to be completely shattered, because that very same afternoon, all that simmering hatred in Verona just explodes, and everything changes. Just look at how fast this all goes down. Tybalt, who's still fuming from the party, he finds Romeo's friends. Romeo shows up, and remember, he's now secretly married to Tybalt's cousin, and he tries to be the peacemaker. But Tybalt is having none of it. He fights, and he kills Romeo's best friend, Mercutio. And just like that, all of Romeo's good intentions are gone. He's blinded by grief, by rage, and he turns on Tybalt and kills him.
So what's the punishment for all this bloodshed? It's not death, but for these newlyweds, it might as well be banishment. Romeo is exiled. He's kicked out of the city. And for Juliet, who's been a wife for what, a few hours? This is a fate that feels worse than death.
And now we get to a desperate, dangerous plan, a potion to cheat fate. Because Juliet's world is just collapsing around her. Her new husband is banished, and now her parents are forcing her to marry someone else, this guy Count Paris. She is completely cornered, and she turns back to Friar Lawrence for one last, desperate and very dangerous plan.
Okay, so the friar's plan is, wow, it is incredibly risky. Here's how it's supposed to work. Step 1, Juliet has to pretend she'll marry Paris. Step 2, the night before the wedding, she drinks a special potion that makes her look like she's dead. Step 3, her family, thinking she's gone, will place her in the family tomb. And step 4, the friar sends a message to Romeo, who will come rescue her, and they'll run away together. I mean, for this to work, every single thing has to go perfectly.
And here's the ticking clock. 42 hours. That's how long the potion lasts. That's the entire window they have to work with. Romeo absolutely has to get that message and get to the tomb before she wakes up all alone in there. And this brings us to the final act, the final tragedy. Subtitle, Bad News Travels Fast. You know the saying, right? Well, in this story, it's tragically true. And one single failed message, that's all it takes to turn this whole elaborate plan into the final, heartbreaking tragedy.
And this is it. This is where it all falls apart. That fatal error. The friar's letter never gets to Romeo. But he does hear the news that Juliet is dead, the false news. He thinks it's real. Absolutely devastated, he buys a real, fast-acting poison and races back to Verona. At the tomb, he runs into Count Paris. They fight, and Romeo kills him. Then he sees Juliet. He kisses her one last time, drinks the poison, and dies right beside her. And then, just moments later, Juliet wakes up. She sees her dead husband, she finds his empty vial, and in her final moment of grief, she takes her own life.
It's only after this final, absolutely unthinkable loss that the families, they finally get it. They finally understand the true cost of their hatred. They agree to make peace, and they decide to build these beautiful golden statues to honor the very children their feud destroyed. It's a peace, but it's a peace that's born from the worst kind of tragedy. And so in the end, Verona finally has peace. But it's a fragile peace, right? One that's built on the graves of 2 teenagers. The story leaves us with a really haunting question. Why does it so often take an unimaginable tragedy to make us finally confront the cost of our own hate? Thanks for watching.